my name is Nacy and welcome back to another video on color palettes. Today's block of the day is Sandstone, and we're going to come up with some color palettes to use Sandstone in your builds. Have you ever seen Sandstone and thought, this is only good for a desert base? Well, you're wrong. Sandstone has got loads of options, so let's take a little look at it. It's definitely an underutilized block, and you know what? Bonus points is it's a pretty good camouflage for my skin. Look at that. I'm basically invisible. Where's my hair gone? I have no hair. Let's take a look at the block set. So I think an issue with Sandstone a lot of people have is the lack of options, right? Every single block from above looks the same, so it's terrible to use for floor designs or for paths, but from the side it's not too bad. We have the stair slabs and wall variants for the normal Sandstone, but our options otherwise are quite limited. The smooth Sandstone only has the stairs and the slabs, and the cut Sandstone only has a slab. It's definitely not on the same level as, say, the modern block sets we have, like Tuff or Deep Slate or even Copper. They all have so many more options. So I do hope that at some point the game gets updated to kind of even this out. But even so, even with some little options, Sandstone's got a trump card. Birch. They look amazing together. I'm a big birch lover, and part of the reason is because of how well it goes with Sandstone. Look at all of these. These go great together, so you shouldn't be afraid of building with Sandstone just because it doesn't have trapdoors or fence gates. You can use birch, and I think they look so good together. To get started, before we go into full block palettes for builds, I've got these gradients I came up with. I thought it'd be good fun just to show you guys what's possible with Sandstone. So there's a couple of really funky ones here. We have two standard kind of going light to dark versions of the gradient. So this is really good for like a big wall or a tower or anything you're going to be working on. And then we have a couple funky ones, which is some color combos that maybe people don't think of using Sandstone for. Example for this one and this one, I think it's quite valid for people to normally go into quartz instead. Whoops, broke the wrong one. Like the quartz would still look good here, right? But sometimes it's nice to not have white in your builds specifically for a gradient, because you can then save that white for accent colors or other details where you really need that attention. So using off-white in a large gradient like that, I think is a good choice. So Sandstone, a very solid block for that. And then we have a couple of sort of inverse effects of the first two. So here we're going from darker to lighter, and then this is a warm and a cool variant. So this, we're going from Sandstone to smooth quartz, and I think this is a fairly good transition. And then this one's, yeah, a little bit more rough. Because Sandstone is a warm color, it's kind of hard to go into this really cool white, but you can kind of get away with it with some pale oak and bone blocks. It's not a perfect transition, and it does really stick out, but if you want something to draw your attention, it's potentially a good choice. And here we are at our first block palette of the day. So something to note about Sandstone is where it is at the color wheel, it's towards the yellows and the oranges, which means the opposite color, or the contrasting color of Sandstone, is actually kind of something like this. It's like the cyan-y, turquoisey colors. So what really draws your eye here in this block palette is the contrasting colors between the prismarine and the Sandstone. They kind of contrast in not too striking of a way, but the prismarine really does grab your attention here. But also the contrasting values between the Sandstone and the dark oak, because the dark oak is so much darker than the Sandstone, it really sticks out. But then we also have the Deep Slate to kind of tie everything in together. And overall, I think this is a really solid block palette that could be used for anything. A good starter home maybe if you somehow manage to get your eyes on early prismarine, but you could always substitute that for warped wood if you wanted to, although it is a little bit of a darker shade, but it could still work. Okay, here's a second color palette, and I love this one so much. It's one of my favorite ones. I think I'm always a little bit of a sucker for moss roofs, but take a look at this. I think adding a little bit of that off-white with the bone blocks to your Sandstone build, this looks so nice and clean. I don't know, it's kind of a natural color transition. And then you can basically pair anything with that, but I went for moss and bamboo, and I think it's a little bit of a dark horse color combination. I don't know how many people's first choice with bamboo would be Sandstone, but I think it absolutely can work. But the bamboo really pops when you use it with the Sandstone because it's so much more brighter. It's almost like an accent in of itself. And honestly, kind of a stunning build, and I love the use of the normal bamboo here as well. Obviously that goes well with moss as a green block. Big fan of this one. I think it can work in any sort of natural build. It's a very solid green kind of base color palette, but you know what? I'm a big fan. Why is bamboo here twice? It's meant to be a bone block. There we go, that's better. Okay, onwards to the third color palette, and we have, honestly, probably the best one of the bunch. Okay, not to hype myself up, but I think we've peaked with color palette number 3. look at this. This is the perfect example of what the warm hue in Sandstone can do. This is the coziest looking color palette ever. It could work for any sort of build, I think, like fantasy, medieval, modern. You know what? Throw this into cyberpunk, it'll probably still look cozy. All of these shades of brown and red just feel so warm and cozy, and then you have this beige to kind of even everything out and make sure it doesn't get too dark in the build. And yeah, big fan of this. If you need something to lighten your build, this is so much more warm and cozy than, say, using stone, I think, in this sort of color palette. Alright, color palette number 4, and I think this is very similar in kind of theory of using the reds, but we go in a slightly different direction. We have the mud bricks and the mushroom blocks here to work with the sandstone. And honestly, look at this. I think it's such a cool combination to go from this kind of red tinted brown all the way up to the sandstone and then back onto the red. Super cool, big fan. I don't know what else to say about this one other than I'm quite proud of it. I don't know where you would use this color palette, but if you like it, please let me know in the comments because it's an interesting one. Color palette number 5. This is a unique one. Again, I'm not too sure where you would use this color palette. I mean, just take a look at the blocks themselves. They kind of feel like the pinks and the purples obviously go well together, but the sandstone's kind of thrown in. But then I realized this has a secret weapon, and that is this cactus flower. We should really just pop that on the color palette itself. This is a color palette for the cactus flower almost. So obviously this is a new block to the Spring to Life update, and it grows on, well, cactuses, which means it's literally made to look good with the sand colored things. I think it looks so good with the sandstone. It draws a little bit of that green from these leaves, and obviously the pinks and the purples in the flower just really fit in so nicely with the rest of the pinks and purples in this color palette. And I think the sandstone tones it down just slightly enough where it feels like a little bit more grounded than your normal sort of full pink and purple build would look like. So big fan of this one as well. I'm not sure where you'd use it, but maybe something fantasy. If you needed a pink color palette for anything, consider throwing sandstone in. It looks nice. It does, I promise. Okay, color palette number 6. Now this is an interesting one. I really wanted to try to use stone breaks and oak wood together because that's probably one of the most iconic color combinations in all of Minecraft, right? It reminds you of the plains villages, it reminds you of the strongholds. It's just so basic vanilla Minecraft, but in such a loving and nostalgic way. But I think it goes well with these bone blocks and quartz and sandstone. Like, all these blocks look nice together. They're basic, they're simple, but you know, they're inoffensive, they fit in together. And if you just really want something that is always going to look good no matter where you build it, I think this is a good color palette. It's always going to have a little bit of that nostalgic Minecraft feel, but then you add something kind of fresh and new on top of it, but it doesn't clash. I don't know, it's just a nice color palette. It's just clean. It's a clean color palette. Big fan, big fan. And number 7, which actually was the first one I designed and probably the trickiest one to make work here, but I really wanted to work this green into the sandstone. So this is a color palette that I almost want to say discovered during one of my builds in Arcadia. This weathered copper, the sandstone, just kind of it just works so well together. I love staring at it. They're both kind of at the same level of pale, if that makes sense, and so they fit together so nicely. But they can be a little bit boring on their own, so I try to work in a little bit of grey and green here in the palette as well, which I think looks good. And yeah, not much to say other than this is an interesting one. This is probably one of the least beginner friendly ones here because it is a little bit tricky to work this grey terracotta into a build like this. I mean, if you put them next to the copper, it feels clashy, right? So you need some transition blocks, but the tuff does work with sandstone and the mossy cobble works well with terracotta. And overall, I think it's quite a visually pleasing palette. There's not much more to say other than I hope this inspires someone. So yeah guys, a bit of a short and sweet one today. Sandstone is such a versatile and useful block that is a bit of a shame to always see it being used in the same way. Hopefully this inspires some people. It's also a very, very good starter based material because you can probably find, well, a beach or a desert near you no matter where you start in the world to get easy access to sandstone. So please do experiment with this lovely old block. Maybe it's past its prime, but it still has loads of potential. And if there's any block you want to build with but you have no idea how to start, please let me know in the comments. I'm more than happy to come up with more block palettes. It's like my favorite thing ever in the game. It's just coming up with color combinations. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye!